Hey everybody, thank you for joining me for another episode of the Tamara Tamu Collective, where dreams have no filter. I don't know why this video is looking a little bit dark, but we'll go with it. So the most important thing is that you can hear me. So what I want to do, I want to move into another topic. You guys let me know if you enjoyed the series on using the power of our voice and our words. Let me know in the comments what you thought of that. And if this whole series thing, doing shorter videos, if that's working for you, or if you prefer longer videos or a mix in between, let me know, because I have a lot of information and a lot of things that I want to talk about, hence why I'm using the term collective. But I want to make sure it is helpful in the delivery. Okay, so let me know in the comments. So this next subject that I want to get into is moving or transitioning from religion to spirituality. Or, as I like to say, what I do say is moving from religion to alchemy. Now, first thought or first question you may be having is, what does that have to do with what we talk about on this channel as far as our vision and how we see our life, how we want to live? It has everything to do with it. Because what I am seeing, what I have noticed, things that I have listened to, is that there are a lot of people who grew up in very religious households, who grew up going to church all the time, never questioning out loud what the religion even meant, but just going along for the ride because that's how the family has always done it. You know, as a child, when you're put into a situation, when you're put into religion, when you're told to go to church, depending on what type of household you grew up in, you didn't have the option to say, no, I'm not going to church today. I've been the last 3 days. My name should be, in the book to get into the pearly gates. Those 3 days, they need to account for something. A lot of us didn't have that option, okay? And so what we do is we just take on that religious identity. We carry it with us through our adulthood, but at the same time, knowing that there's something more in depth for us to latch onto when it comes to our spirituality. But even in the same breath, I will say that even though we have that pull and that calling and that knowing, because religion is what we have been used to, we don't move beyond that because of guilt. The big one is fear. Now, from personal experience, I grew up in a religious household. And it was really considered a sin to ask questions on things that didn't make sense or things that you didn't understand. So what happens is, the reason why we don't move from that as we become adults, because really, as an adult, you do have the freedom to do what you want to do. You got bills in your name, you're paying for a house, apartment, whatever. You have your own money. We have freedom to choose what we want, But yet, because we've gotten used to that religious identity, we're afraid to step away from that. We're afraid to move from what we're used to, or I will say, I don't want to say what feels comfortable, because a lot of times what you're used to does not feel comfortable. It doesn't feel comfortable, but because of that familiarity, that's enough to keep us stagnant. So that plays into not just that part of our life, but in other parts of our life. It plays out in other parts of our life where we don't move from employee to business owner, where we feel like we can't move from one country to another, where we can't move from one investment type to another. And I'm just using these as examples, because because I know that our lives, every aspect of our lives are integrated. They go together because we're integrated humans. We can't segment ourselves. We have to stop segmenting ourselves. That's just a side note. But anyway, going back to the topic. Moving from religion to spirituality. I'm bringing this up because for many of us, for many of you that are watching, part of the vision that we have, part of that expanded vision is for us, we really want to explore other parts of spirituality. Maybe for you, you want to explore other religions. Now, here's the thing, and this will probably end up being another series because there's so much to talk about here. And this, right, just what we're talking about today could easily be an hour-long video, and I don't want to do that. So going back to what I was saying. So for some of us, part of that vision, part of that highest vision that we have, part of how we see ourselves living, being part of a religious sect or being part of a church that no longer fits anymore. It doesn't fit. And some of you are and let me say this. During these talks that we're going to have about this, you may hear me talk about one particular religion. And I'm bringing up my experience from the way that I was brought up, okay? This is not to bash religion. It is not, or any religion. But I am going to say some things about religion that may be jarring because of the foundation of why religion was started in the first place. And we know that it was to control people, period. Okay? So, again, this is not to bash any particular religion, even though you're going to hear me bring up a specific religion. All right? I'm not telling anyone to not be a part of any religion. I'm not telling anybody to not go to church, because some people go to the church building for social reasons. Some people are going to make friends. Some people are going to get a man, a woman, whatever. I'm not telling you to go. I'm not telling you not to go. But for those of you, this video series is for those of you that are having a hard time for a list of reasons, moving from religion to spirituality. And you've heard me say, if you've been watching, that spirituality is not something separate from us. It's not something separate from our life. So I don't like when I hear these phrases, or these people describing themselves as spiritualists or spiritual leaders or spiritual community. You are a spiritual community. Your life, you are spiritual. I believe that for every experience, everything that we see, there is a spiritual underlining cause for everything. That's just what I believe from my experience. Okay. So we're going to get into that. And so again, I don't want to make this video long. And so that was, I guess, an introduction of what we're going to move into. So yes, stay tuned. Until next time, cheers.